All right, so for this video, I want you to see how the unit circle and all of the degrees on a unit circle, how those relate to a trig graph on an actual coordinate plane. All right, so I'm giving you everything in degrees, all right, just to make things a little simpler. But for each one of these degrees, we're gonna actually calculate what the sine is and what the cosine is for every single one. And then we're gonna start plotting those points on our graph. So for example, if I wanted to find the sine of 0 degrees, well, the sine of 0 degrees, I would put that in my calculator and I get 0. So for the sine, I'm going to plot a point at 0, 0 because I checked it at 0 degrees and it was at exactly 0. So then I'm going to do the same thing for 15 degrees. So the sine of 15 degrees. And I got something a little bit crazy, but that's okay because we have a double arrow button. And as a decimal, that is 0.25. And so on our graph, we're going to estimate that. Now, think about the graph, okay? If this is 45, then this is 15, and this is 30. I'm just not filling in every single one of those numbers because it just gets a little bit too much. All right, but where is 0.25 on my graph? All right, well, if this is 0.5, then 0.25 would be roughly in the middle, in between. So I'm going to plot that point. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the sine of 30. And I'll hit double arrow, which is going to be 0.5, and I'm going to plot that point. All right, at 0.5. I'm going to do the same thing at 45, so the sine of 45. And as a decimal, I get 0.7-ish. So 0.7-ish would be right about here. All right. And then I'm going to go on to the 60. So the sine of 60 gives me approximately 0.9-ish, right? So just a tiny bit under the 0.9. And then the sine of 90 would be 1. All right. And you're going to keep doing that for each one of your degrees, all right? And then in the end, you're going to connect the dots, all right? So this will end up connecting, and it's going to look something like this, all right? And it's going to end up turning, and it's going to do some things, okay? But this will give you an idea of how it starts. All right, and so you're going to do that for each of your degrees, and I want you to do that in one color. All right, so this would be the sine of x. All right, so that's what you're going to graph in one color. All right, after you find all of those numbers. Then I want you to do the same thing. Oops, sorry, but I want you to do it for the cosine. So for the cosine of 0, I get 1. So 0, 1 would be right here. And this is going to be the start of my cosine graph. All right, so then I'm going to do the cosine of 15 degrees because I'm doing everything in 15-degree increments. And I get 0.96, so just under 1. Just under it. All right, then I'm going to say the cosine of 30. And that is 0.86, so just under the 0.9 mark. Then I'm going to say cosine of 45. And I got 0.7-ish, so that would be approximately right here. Cosine of 60 would be 1/2 or 0.5. So 60 is right here. Cosine of 75 would be 0.25-ish. So somewhere right here. And then the cosine of 90 is 0. All right, and then you'll keep going, okay? But once you plot all of those points, then you're going to connect the dots, okay? And this actually starts to curve, so I'm going to kind of give myself a little curve. All right, but again, you will do this for all of these values, okay, in 15-degree increments. And so you will turn that in tomorrow, so make sure that you do that. Make sure that you're actually plotting the points, that you're not just drawing a graph, okay? I physically want to see all of these points on your graph.